What is neurodiversity?
What is it about these people?
Dyslexia,
autism spectrum,
ADHD,
Gifted,
dysgraphia.
All brains are different.
It's okay to be who you are.
This is the Neurodiversity Podcast.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Kircher-Morris, and thanks for joining us for episode 105. We're doing something a little different today. In the spirit of the holiday, we wanted to highlight the intersection of gratitude and neurodiversity. So, what is gratitude? Gratitude is the quality of being thankful, a readiness to show appreciation or to return a kindness. We can be grateful for the good, while at the same time having appreciation for the not so good. We can recognize the people or events in our lives that have influenced us and the growth that comes through those experiences. So we wanted to hear from you. We asked for your reflections on neurodiversity and how understanding neurodiversity has changed your life for the better. Here are some of your responses.
I am neurodivergent. I'm grateful for my creativity, my humor.
My name is Beth, and I have a son on the autism spectrum, and he has taught me a lot about sensory processing and a different perspective on the world and social relationships.
I used to be afraid of bugs, but now I'm not. It taught me that pretty much try to ignore it unless it's charging at you. Then run.
I think that I have actually learned that I don't feel so much pressure to have a large friend group either, because he's taught me that it is okay to be comfortable with yourself and to not rely on other people as much.
My wife has ADHD, strong processing speed. I suffer from anxiety. Our kids are a mixture of that. And so understanding our neurodiversity has helped deal with the challenges they're coming across and looking back at our own experiences through a whole new lens.
Overcoming that worry took a while, but it was difficult, but I managed to do it. And so now I know that I can overcome difficult things.
I am a homeschooling mom of 2 twice exceptional children. We probably would not be a homeschooling family if our kids were neurotypical, but I'm so grateful that we are and that our kids can learn at home in the ways that are best for them and to work at their pace. It's definitely a challenge, but I love being with them for all of it. When they have those big breakthrough moments, but also when we struggle through things together and they finally get it. It's truly a gift to be on this journey with them and see the world through their eyes.
Hi, my name's Deborah, and I am a person with neurodiversity. And it's really hard. It's really, really hard sometimes, right? But at the same time, we have to be grateful. I have to be grateful for the lessons I've learned, for the patience that I have to practice, for the compassion that people show me, for the compassion that I in turn can show the people I love and the students I work with who also have neurodiversity.
So I started my professional life as a regular education teacher and fell in love with special needs students. Now I understand them as neurodiverse and other developmental delays. But I feel like my career changed after having a son with neurodiversity, because you don't understand completely until you've lived it. And having him in my life and living it 24/7, I understood people's needs for sensory input or taking breaks or modifications to how I interacted with them. And it completely changed my interaction with my students and with their parents. And now my goal is just to support people and encourage their perspective on the world and what they need to be successful.
Since joining the Neurodiversity, we have found a new community of parents that experience the same challenges with their kids as us, and also have explained so much about our own individual lives and the challenges that we have come across. Now we feel like we found a place where we belong and we don't feel so alone.
I am so blessed to be connected with other moms of neurodiverse children. Finding a tribe of moms who have already been there or who are in the trenches with me has been a game changer. Their support and encouragement means everything, especially on those really tough days where it all seems to be too hard.
I am grateful for the new perspective of life and interacting with our world, for learning to slow down and to enjoy some alone time, and the lesson of my son prefers calm and quiet, and he has taught me to slow down and just sit and be quiet, which wasn't something that I did ever before.
Like any other rabbit hole, I have learned so much in the last few years since learning about my neurodiversity. Now I'm expanding my professional life to include mentoring neurodivergent kids and newly diagnosed adults, and authentically share this facet of my life.
I am grateful for the validation that our daughter's neurodiversity diagnosis gave us, not only for myself and as parents, but also for our daughter. We can now reframe deficiencies as differences and focus on her strengths and gifts while supporting her neurodiversity.
We have to celebrate it. We have to know that our differences make us stronger, and also that it helps us to provide that safe space, that safe psychological space, I would say, for people to be able to claim all their identities, even the ones that make living really hard sometimes.
5 years ago, I had a stroke that I barely survived. Since then, my feelings have been very strong. All my anxiety has come back, and I have had to learn to deal with all those things all over again in a much healthier way now than in the past, where I just muted my feelings. As far as a person who's been crucial, it's been Cam Worley-Gonzalez of the Cambria Institute. Her website is cambriainstitute.org, who helped thinking of educating our kids in a completely different way.
This is Mark Hess from Portable Gifted and Talented and the Colorado Association for Gifted and Talented. You know how during Teacher Appreciation Week, we often read about teachers touching lives? I tend to think of it the other way around. The thousands of lives that have touched mine in the last 34 years that I've got to work with kids. Those times we've fallen out of our desks laughing. The hugs I've gotten in the hallways. The kid who interrupts our discussion and makes a point that I'd hoped we could get to 20 minutes from now. The passionate dives into quirky interests and oddball obsessions. The beautiful poetry and grace of brilliance. The smoldering emotions when justice has been forsaken. The joys and celebrations. The heartbreaks. Yeah, even the heartbreaks. Because without belief, without commitment and hope and compassion, there are no heartbreaks. Your teacher says, thank you for letting me be in your life.
you grateful for?
I don't know what it is about this year, but I've been feeling very introspective and recognizing that gratitude has impacted my life in ways I feel like it hasn't before. Maybe part of it is because looking at life after living through this pandemic gives a different perspective on what is important to us. Maybe it's because I'm beginning to see my own children growing faster each day and I'm wishing for time to slow down, trying to savor every moment, even the frustrating ones. But maybe, and I think this is the most likely thing, I'm so grateful for the connection I've made to the neurodiversity community and the people that I've met through this podcast. So thank you for being a part of that journey. We wish you and your family a happy Thanksgiving. I'm Emily Kircher-Morris. I'll see you next time on the Neurodiversity Podcast.
Our thanks today to listeners who took the time during the busy holiday season to send their thoughts about gratefulness. Also those who thought about it but just didn't have time to commit. We totally understand. While we're on the subject of gratefulness, thank you for giving us the biggest year of growth in this podcast's history. Also, thank you to the Patreon patrons who have chosen to support us financially to keep the lights on around here. As for me, I'm thankful for my wife, who is the best podcast host and partner I could possibly imagine. Finally, we gratefully acknowledge the native peoples on whose ancestral homelands we live, as well as the diverse and vibrant native communities who make their home here today. For Emily Kircher-Morris, I'm Dave Morris. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. This is a production of Morris Creative Services.